Overview of Fritzing. So Fritzing was used to design the laser source controller by Stefan.
So the drive board is done in Fritzing, which we actually ported from Eagle to Fritzing because it's open source and it's awesome. And the way Fritzing works is you have 3 views. You have this breadboard view, which is really messy here because I don't do much with it, but sometimes it's very useful. And then you have a schematic view.
So you design it within schematic view or within breadboard view? No, you design it within breadboard view, right?
I mean, typically in Eagle, if you more professional, you would do it in schematic view. You would lay it out, and then in the end, you would actually define how the traces are run physically.
Mm-hmm.
So first you get the logic right, and then you think about how you lay it out.
Mm-hmm.
In Fritzing, because it's a fairly simple software, I just did it on the board. And
so this you did by hand, or this was generated?
This is pretty much done by hand.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not completely done by hand. So there's an auto router, so you don't have to run everything by hand, but you can run the traces manually or partially. Sometimes it makes sense to run some traces, like thick traces, manually, and you lay them out how you want them, and the rest you auto route around it. So the drive board was mostly designed in actually this view.
In this view, you designed it?
Exactly.
So you didn't go from the... So when did that... So show me the breadboard view. Did that get generated automatically, or...?
Kind of. Yeah, basically you draw and you drag and drop in your components, and then you have them all here, and then you position them on the PCB.
When the connections are made in the breadboard view, is that you doing that, or you just do that between the points?
If you make the connections somewhere in any view, it will be done in other views, so it keeps the connections in sync.
So why wouldn't you, for example, do the breadboard view, because it's simplest and most intuitive? One place has to connect to another and let it do the rest for you.
Yes and no. Typically you just start with the schematic. You think of, for sketching, the breadboard view is really nice if you want to sort of sketch out an idea and you think, what components do I need, and you just place them there. If you already know exactly what components you have on the board, it's not very helpful. Then you just, you need the schematic, and you just lay out the logic in how it's connected. And once you get the logic down, you actually define how the PCB looks like. So the breadboard view is more like sort of a brainstorming.
Do you make all the connections in the logic view and the schematic view within the breadboard view? Or some?
So the connections first, you have basically a connection is called a signal, and it shows you all the signal, and they're just connected in a rat's nest, it's called, which means they're not routed around each other, it's just crossover. And from that rat's nest, you basically start making sure you don't have crossings. So you have to, lay them all out. Possibly go to the other side of the board to get around.
Does it?
Crossings.
If you have the rat's nest view, does it route it without interference automatically, or you have to do that by hand?
For simple designs, it does a pretty good job automatically.
But it fails at times, so you have to correct it?
At times it fails.